Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. All right. All right. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you guys see my cap?
It looked good.
I'm going, what's the word? Native today. A lot of people may not have seen me in my native attire before. How are you guys
That looks
doing?
good. It looks good.
Thank you very much. How are you guys doing?
Good.
I'm doing great. What about you?
I'm doing good.
So I'm doing okay. Actually, yesterday they beat Israel, so I was very sad. I watched it live and all that stuff, and it
Who
hurt
is
me.
Israel?
Israel Adesanya,
Oh.
UFC.
The
They won
UFC
from
guy.
blow. They gave him a punch, left hook on his
Yeah.
jaw.
You
He
can't win everything.
Olule.
Yeah, Cameron has been champion for 5 years. He's a great Nigerian icon. Himself and Kamaru Usman, they are great icons, And my voice may be going up and down because of Man U. I was screaming on top of my lungs because Man U scored in the 93rd minute, last kick of the game. Garnacho.
That's okay.
So, without further ado, I would like to welcome everyone again. This is the maiden edition on pitching the plan. Now, you see what I have here? Renewed Hope 2023. I would recommend for everyone on this platform from today to please download it, be it a soft copy or a hard copy. Please have it downloaded so that as we go through this series, as we break down the Asiwaju Manifesto, his action plan for 2023, we all can go along with it. So it's an 80-page. It's 80 pages. And what we are trying to do here, what we're trying to achieve here is to explain to the people, let them be aware of what is in store in this action plan. You may not be able to read all 80 pages of it, and we will be trying to ensure that we break it down, like the nitty-gritty. All of the questions that you may have, you can ask those questions. We are here to answer those questions. Whatever doubts that you have in your mind as regards all of these promises and how possible is it going to be, this is the platform, this is the opportunity for you to ask these questions. We're supposed to have a special guest, which is the Director General of the APC Presidential Campaign Council of the Diaspora Directorate. He is going to join us, but he actually reached out to me and told me that he's currently in another meeting, but he is going to join us as quickly as possible. So we will be waiting on him in that regard. But moving forward, because we have to keep the ball rolling, I have here with me Yetunde Yusuf. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. She's supports and believes in the action plan for Asiwaju 2023. So she's one of the speakers that is going to be breaking this project down in bits and in pieces so that we all can understand. Okay, let me invite him. All right. So we all can have a clear understanding. And very soon, Barrister Oluseyi Bisiriyu will be joining us. I think he's back. So that is Barrister Oluseyi Bisiriyu. So he also will be a part of the team that will be breaking the action plan for much better understanding for everyone listening to us both home and abroad. And we also have other speakers, excluding guest speakers. We have other speakers also that will also partake in breaking this action plan, breaking it into bits and pieces, because the faces that you see here, you might only see one and myself more consistently, but then you may see different faces because it depends on what we are talking about. So without further ado, before I even hand over to Barrister Oluseyi Bisiriyu, I would just want to talk briefly about what you stand to gain by joining us on this platform every Sunday at 9 p.m. Nigerian time, at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, you see this manifesto, Renewed Hope 2023, Pitching the Plan Series 1. Then, these are the different topics, subject matter we're going to be talking about. We're going to break it down into 12 different episodes where we're going to talk about them in depth. From 5, which is on security, to 11, which is on, what is 11 on? On the economy. Then 26, which is on, 26 is on agriculture, 30 is on power, 33 is on oil and gas, and then it's going to go on and on and on. So without wasting so much of your time, I'm going to leave the floor to Barrister Bisiriyu. But guys, remember, you have the opportunity of asking questions when we open the floor. Let us keep it civil. Let us keep it educative. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to the speakers. I'm talking to our audience. We all just want to have a clear understanding. We all want a better Nigeria. It is okay if you support anybody you want to support, but the most important thing is get that PVC and go and vote for who you think is the best person. We believe that Asiwaju is the best person for 2023 based on his action plan. And all we are doing here is just to explain what his action plan entails. And so I'm going to leave the floor open to Barrister Oluseyi Bisiriyu to speak on the forward of this action plan. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ayo Bakari, for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. The purpose of this is to find an informal way of digesting a very formal document. And when we say that, we know that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a man of understanding of the basic problems of Nigeria, having been in the process for a very long time. We are talking 30, 40 years of him being in it. So this is an action plan. And before I move further, I'll just say, let me introduce myself again. My name is Barrister Oluseyi Bisiriyu. I live in Virginia, USA. I'm a diasporan. We are all diasporans here. And we love Nigeria. We feel Nigeria. We feel the pain. And sometimes you get people tell us that, oh, why are you trying to impose people on us? Why are you trying to impose this candidate? Because you support this. But we want to let people know that we also feel the pain of what's going on in Nigeria. And we think that our participation of understanding who is the best candidate, as much as it can be a subjective thing, we think it is important for us to get involved. And when we say we feel the pain, most people say, oh, what do? You're enjoying yourself in America. We say, okay. The truth is that every time we send money to dependents in Nigeria, it takes away from a little bit that we could have saved for a vacation for our son, for a retirement, to pay for this, to pay for that. And because we love our people in Nigeria, if things are good in Nigeria, we save more. We keep more of our money. We don't have to send it over there. And also, when we need to do things in Nigeria, it's easier for us to do that if we know that things are pretty good in Nigeria. So because of that, we have a vested interest in the polity of Nigeria. This document is a plan, action, and I think that it's important for us to hear what was stated in the forward before we even go to the nitty-gritty of all the elements of this action plan. So I will read a little bit, I will talk a little bit about it, and then we can move forward with it. So the first paragraph starts with saying, Nigeria is a unique nation, impressive in its diverse character and composition, resounding and hopeful in unity and collective faith. Home to over 200 million vibrant people, Nigeria stands as the most populous nation on the African continent and the largest concentration of Black people on earth. It is beyond debate that we hold the duty of national progress to our progeny and to ourselves. Now, that states one thing. The biggest thing I see out of that is the diverse character and composition resounding. That is similar, is parallel to what is an American. America has diverse characters in its composition. America is a place where you can find every race on earth. And Nigeria is also a place where you can find everyone from a trace of Africa in Nigeria, whether you like it or not. We have different languages, different cultures, different people, even though our colors are the same. This underlines the fact that Asiwaju knows diversity and works with diversity and believes that diversity is a strength to Nigeria. Now, moving forward, I will go to paragraph 3. It says, our nation's history affirms that our people constitute our most valuable treasure. Whether the handiwork farmer, the industrial market woman, the dynamic young entrepreneur, now young, is very important. The hopeful child. Nigerian people rank among the best anywhere. They excel in every aspect of human endeavor, even given a fair chance. Here, he is pointing to the fact that we are a hardworking people. He recognizes that. He thinks that giving a fair share to every person in Nigeria is important. And without that acknowledgement, all the past governments have done injustice to the people by not recognizing this. You go to Nigeria, you go to a village, and you see people laughing, living their life, eating organic food. In America here, you go into a store, you pay a lot of money for organic food. But in Nigeria, you have people go to the farm and they get these things for themselves. All they need is a little bit of help. And this man recognizes that and puts it in the forward. Now, I go to another part of it that I think is important. He said, people do not seek superficial answers to hard questions, nor do they want the broken, unimaginative, failed promises repackaged and fed to them again. They want true innovative solutions which address the challenging realities of today. We all know that these people are inundated with promises. We understand that politics is a game of promises. It is a business of promises. And this document is a document of promise. However, the difference here is that Tinubu has lived so many times in the public space by fulfilling promises. He has survived this long by fulfilling promises. And we believe, I personally believe, that that track record is very important here, and that people should not see this as a repackaged promise of failed, unimaginative, broken promises. We see this as a man that is ready to work, and with this kind of document, it creates a plan of how you can hold him to his words. I'll move on to the fourth paragraph. It says, when I was governor of Lagos, my team and I developed institutions and policies that changed the face of the state. It became safe. It became a safe place for its residents and an engine of prosperity for all those willing to work in pursuit of their economic dreams. I believe that anyone here will not disagree with that, that Lagos has become a model of example in Africa generally. You know, you might have your own subjective reasons why you think that is not true, but overall, him and his successors have been able to create a platform where people can actually go to the market, go to their office, go home, and maintain a safe understanding that the government got their back. And if we can give this man the opportunity to do that this time, we believe that with this action plan, he can make that happen. He said, our objective is to foster a new society based on shared prosperity, tolerance, compassion, and the unwavering commitment to treat each citizen with equal respect and due regard. That is germane in the interaction of many ethnic groups in Nigeria. The fact that when you treat people with compassion, tolerance, and respect, you get more from them. They work better for you. They produce better. And with his past track record of giving multi-ethnic people opportunity to serve in cabinets in Lagos State, he understands compassion. He understands tolerance. And he knows the unwavering commitment of people, irrespective of their ethnic background. So based on this, he now said, standing on the foundation placed by the current administration, which is the Buhari administration, I will say something here. I've heard people say, oh, this is a continuation. This is a continuation of Buhari policies. No, there is nothing you build without a foundation. It cannot come in and scrap everything without working on what has been on ground. The present administration has done some things very well. There are some things that are still not at par, but he is here to modify that and to do great things. Now, he listed so many things that we will be going into in the next 12 weeks. And the biggest part of it is emphasis on youth. And I will mention just two of it. He said, build a Nigeria, especially for our youth, where sufficient jobs with decent wages create a better life. And the other one is embolden and support our.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so embolden and support our young people and women by harnessing emerging sectors such as the digital economy, entertainment and culture, tourism, and others to build the Nigeria of tomorrow today. In this action plan, you're going to see, I am begging the youth to download this thing. If nothing at all, please, the section where it deals with empowerment of youth, it has some very good things for you to work with there. This has nothing to do with partisanship, in the sense that whether you vote for him or not, you are going to benefit. All we ask is that you listen to this, see whether this will work for you. because he's not going to differentiate who voted and who does not vote for him. He's going to do this for all Nigerians. And we believe there is so much more in this for all Nigerians to enjoy and have a better life. The last paragraph of his point says that, and most importantly, establish a bold and assertive policy that will create this strong yet adaptive national security architecture and action to obliterate terror, kidnapping, banditry, and other forms of violent extremism from the face of our nation. And he finally said, I welcome your inputs and critics. He's not saying that, oh, everything is written in stone. It is still subject to modification. You can bring your ideas. It's open to critics. It wants you to criticize it because Nigeria belongs to everyone, and we believe that platforms like this gives you opportunity to critique it, to provide your input, and hopefully we believe Nigeria will be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barrister Bisiriyu Oluseyi. One thing that I would like to add to what you have said is this action plan is more like a KPI guide, which you can begin to pinpoint key performance indicators. And that is why we reckon on everyone here to please go and download the e-copy of Asiwaju's 2023 action plan, otherwise called Renewed Hope. Go and download the e-copy so you can begin to gauge and grade. Now, when you look at the action plan and look at all of the different conversations in there, all of the different points in there, all of the different goals and targets in there, there's a certain principle that has always been used for it, and it is called the SMART principle, meaning that these goals are very specific, meaning that these goals are very measurable, meaning that these goals are very actionable, meaning that these goals are very relevant, and meaning that these goals are time-focused. I'll repeat myself again. SMART principles. S standing for specific, M standing for measurable, A standing for actionable, that is being realistic, R standing for, what was R? It just skipped my head right now, and I just said it the last time.
It's relevant.
Relevant.
Thank you. Relevant. And T standing for time focused. Yes. So without further ado, we have not heard from Yetunde yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Hold on. No, I want to throw you into the line of fire immediately. I want to throw you into the line of fire, or to the den of lions immediately. So I would like us to just, because guys, I want to say this here. Today is not the day for the breakdown analysis.
Yes.
Today is an introduction. And hopefully our guest speaker joins us because he's in another strategic meeting in Abuja. So today is just touching all the different sections, and we are lumping them into different subject matters. So it's not like, oh, we are talking about healthcare and we are going to bring down all of its policies. We are going to have a day that is going to be dedicated for healthcare only. So, Yetunde Yusuf, let us talk on national security. Okay. National security, for the people that have it on an e-copy, you can find that on page 5. So just talk briefly on national security and what the action plan is all about. You can even speak a minute on maybe our current situation in Nigeria, and then talk about the action plan and how the action plan has the solutions, the probable solutions to our national security challenges. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you guys for joining us. And this is really a very informative platform. This segment that we're doing, there's a reason it's called Pitch the Plan. Because, of course, the campaign can always go on all the national TV but the truth is, in the 21st century, majority of us worldwide, we get our news on social media. And if you are trying to get your point across, you need to find a way to get it across on social media. Nobody really reads the newsprints like that in this age. People go on Twitter, on Facebook. That's where we get most of our information. So that's why this is very important. And this is not just the reason why I chose to be part of this is because I believe in this person we are talking about, which is Asiwaju Tinubu. No human being in this world is a perfect human being. No, we are not trying to sell you a saint. He's not a saint. But we are trying to sell you somebody that can get it done, that will believe in his mandate, that he can actually do it, based on what he's done, based on what we've seen him do in the past of all the candidates. But we are not going to be using this platform at all to talk about the other candidates. This is just for Asiwaju Tinubu and the plan. And we want you guys to be part of this. Like Abistiri said, and Bongoli has been saying, this is something that we need. It's if you think that, okay, we are just doing this, nobody will hear it, believe me, people will hear it. No, you don't know who is watching right now that will take note of something you said, some questions you asked that we are discussing that might actually take it to the right people to say, hey, you know, this thing is also important. Maybe somebody should look into this and explain it better. So please just give us this, your time every Sunday. We will appreciate it. So moving on to national security, we all know that Nigeria's national security situation, we've always had problem with national security. But in recent times, and most especially this year, it's been hell. I'll use the word hell. So many things is multifaceted. A lot of things has compounded it. Of course, we have the Boko Haram and ISWAP in the northeast. We have banditry in the northwest. We have the header farmer crisis in the north central and some village parts in southwest. In the south, we have the bunkering and all of that going on there. Pretty much southwest seems to be the only region really in Nigeria that we can consider somewhat safe. I didn't say 100% safe. I said somewhat safe. But one thing I want us to also know is that besides the fact that our security outfits are not well equipped, pre-Buhari also, besides that, we also have saboteurs also too, which even the militaries themselves, they've actually confirmed that. And some of their people that were sabotaging efforts have been arrested and undergoing some form of discipline or something. But we just need to see that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I personally can say that in the past month or two, we've seen progress in when it comes to the spate of violence and all that. It might not look like progress, but it is progress. Compared to what we had with Boko Haram, it used to be that I don't think there's ever any week that we don't have like 4 or 5 incidents of bomb blasts, mosques, churches getting blown up and on all that with Boko Haram. Yes, we made gains when it comes to Boko Haram. Of course, it metamorphosed into ISWAP. And ISWAP is not just a Nigerian problem. It's also a Cameroon problem, is a Mali problem, is a Libya problem. The issue, what escalated this and made it worse is the fact that we have all these conflicts going on in Mali, in all this other ECOWAS states, in the issue of Sahel desertification and all this stuff. We have foreign fighters coming into our own country because our border, as usual, porous. Nigeria actually has over about 360 borders. Out of that, about 127 is what we can consider secured. We have over 260 something borders that like you can just in and out of Nigeria like that. So we have weapons proliferation in Nigeria that is going on. So with this administration, of course, some weapons were bought. Unfortunately for us, COVID also did not help our situation because the countries we bought stuff from, we are all aware of the logistics supply chain problem that was happening due to COVID. And it's no company. Like in America now, they declared emergency act that a lot of the organizations here, even my husband sells cars, they couldn't buy parts. Like if they need parts, they will tell them you have to wait. In January, they had to wait till 2023 to get a lot of parts. Because these companies, GE, Ford, all of them, they were told like the only thing you can produce is ventilators. You are not producing anything else. So, but now because of things are getting better, now we are getting things that we paid for coming in. To also avoid this situation, if you guys are familiar with DICON, DICON was created, actually it was created in the 70s, I believe. That's the defense industry to just help with weapon production for Nigeria. Imagine how much money we spend importing this thing if we can produce it. Which used to function, but it stopped functioning. But when President Buhari came in, he did say, okay, we are going to revive this. Well, they are trying their best now. What Ashiwa just said in his plan that I loved was the fact that they are going to, not just we've been saying we will do it and we are putting a little money into it. No, we are going heads on, all our body into it. We are going to mass produce our own weapons in Nigeria. DICON is doing their best right now. In fact, they are producing a lot of their MRAP vehicles. They are doing a lot of ammunition themselves right now. It's not enough, but Ashiwaju wants to do it. His government is going to do it. This is somebody that is familiar with fighting insecurity. When he came in, I didn't live somewhere else. I was a Lagos child. And I remember very well that Lagos State was not safe. I don't care what anybody likes to say. Lagos was chaos. It was a giant chaos and so scary. And I have a daughter in Nigeria. My 20-year-old daughter now will go from Ogudu and go to Ireland to go and do stuff and be coming home after hanging out with her friends at night. Now I can still say, okay, it's okay. Then my mother would never allow me to do that, even during daytime, even during the day. So no matter how bad we say the security is in Lagos, because people want to say, well, Lagos was really bad. And he came in, brought the security outfits together, because everybody knows that no one person can do things. Even in America here, our police departments actually have FBI with it that works with them. So what Ashiwaju's government is going to do is to bring all our security outfits together so they can collaborate to work on this security situation. So it's not just going to be the military, our police, our NCDC, and even all these community ones that we have with Amotekun and all that, because that will be part of the community ones. You did write it there, that it's community outreach programs that they have. And then another problem we do have, besides weapon, is intelligence. How do we get intelligence? Nigerian forces lack intelligence. Of course, when we get to the segment of on security, and we have the security expert person actually come talk about this, they will tell you more on it. But what he has already put there is to liaise with communities, with everyday Nigerians. When it comes to security, we as Nigerians need to understand that security is everybody's business. It's not just the police business. It's not just the military business. It is my business. To give you an example, when one day I came back home and I saw this bag on my yard in front of my house, and I was like, I called my husband. I said, "Did you put this bag like a work bag? It's looking funny. It's blue," because I know he had a blue work bag like that. I'm like, "Did you put it outside?" He said, "No." I said, "My kids wanted to go there." I said, "No, stand back." Even my mom already knows. She comes here, so she knows. She's like, "Nobody touch it." So I said, "Let me call the HOA person, the president of our HOA, Housing Association, to know maybe the people that always come to cut the grass, maybe one of them just forgot and left it there." They said, "No, it's not them." I said, "Well, I'm going to wait. Maybe somebody mistakenly dropped this. But if I don't see anybody come pick this thing up, I'm calling the police." Because you know why? America has trained us to know that security of my community is also my responsibility. My mom said, "Well, tomorrow is trash day. The trash will pick it up." I said, "No, I'm not waiting for trash. What if it's a bomb? The trash man will now pick it up and get blown away." I said, "No, somebody needs to take care of this today." But the bottom line is Nigerians needs to be educated on that. So we do need all of that. And I see somebody was talking about the policing. Yes, that's where police is. But where's the trust? So we will get to all of this because I don't want to bore us with all this. We need to build trust, community and police. That comes together to be able to help with intelligence gathering for our police, for our military and everything.
Thank you very much. Yetunde Yusuf, I know you have a lot to speak on security, national security, but we will wait. Because if we go at this pace, we will not leave it till 5. So, but let me add something here. Part of Asiwaju's action plan is to introduce the anti-terror battalion, anti-terrorism battalion.
Yes.
So now he is having to put in place or wants to put in place specialized forces for different situations, for different challenges that we are facing as regards security. I want you guys that have that manifesto right in front of you, go to page 5 and begin to look at his plans. Another one is forest reserves.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we have issues when it comes to some certain elements, unscrupulous elements, living in forests in Nigeria and then perpetuate some certain acts. So now we are going to have forest guards or forest reserves. It is in the manifesto.
Yes.
I'll leave it at that. Now, the next topic, it will be on the economy, debt, revenue generation, and digital economy. And what I would just say as regards that is, when it comes to the economy is pretty much defined by the gross domestic product, which is the GDP. That tells me how large the economy is. For example, they will say that Nigeria is the giant of Africa. Why they say Nigeria is the giant of Africa? It's basically because of our GDP. Currently, our GDP stands at $440 billion US, meaning everything in Nigeria, when you put a monetary value to it, that is what it costs. And I think Nigeria is maybe 30 or 31 largest economy in the world, and number 1 in Africa. And Lagos, for example, is like almost 40% of Nigeria's GDP. Lagos GDP right now is standing at about $150 billion. So why am I bringing Lagos here? We'll find out later. Now, Asiwaju is saying that I'm going to increase that GDP by 10% every year. It is in the plan. If you go to page 11 in the economy, I think page 13 or 14 to be precise, you will see the bar chart there. Now, by increasing that, that tells me that we are improving and we're increasing our economy. There are more job opportunities. There's more wealth creation. But when it comes to the economy, we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about our debt situation. Yes, Nigeria may be in a debt crisis. I am someone that is not, I don't like to compare. But I'm going to do this here. The United States that we live in, or the United States as it is today, United States GDP is $23 trillion. Guess how much the US owes? The US owes about $30 trillion. That means the GDP of the US is less than how much they owe. Because when you look at the borrowing standards, the borrowing standards say you shouldn't borrow more than 25% of your GDP. When you even look at Nigeria, Nigeria currently owes about $100 billion US. That is less than 25%. Now let me do a quick breakdown. Before the Jonathan administration came in, Nigeria was owing about $30 billion US. When the Jonathan administration came in, Nigeria was owing about $64 billion. And now, as we speak now, Nigeria is owing about $100 billion. So Buhari, the current president, his administration has borrowed a total amount of about $36 billion US. And that is still less than 25%. Now, I want to talk about borrowing and all of that. if you look, then let me now move into the budget and what Asiwaju is trying to do here. Asiwaju is saying the way we budget because Nigeria is a mono economy. And the way we budget based on our oil imports for the most part. If you go and read the budget, for example, the budget will say the price of crude oil per barrel is maybe $57 or $60, and that is what they base the calculation on. And say, okay, yes, if we are going to be exporting about 1.5 million barrels per day, then they do the math, because you have to factor in the cost. I'm already getting into oil and gas, guys, because I might skip that when we are talking. I'm just going to mix everything together. You are going to look at the cost of production, which Nigeria has one of the highest cost of production when it comes to drilling of oil, between $15 to $20 per barrel. And then we are in a joint venture, because we have those IOCs, independent oil companies, and the NNPC. They have to share the proceeds. So Asiwaju is saying, I'm not going to do that I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use our expenditure, meaning what do the Nigerians truly need? What is our expenditure as regards to education, healthcare, agriculture, and all other aspects, power, even oil and gas, and all other aspects of the economy. So he's going to do the budget, or, create the budget based on that. And then the big thing, digital economy. Everyone is talking about digital economy. I don't know if you guys are aware that all of these big boys are cutting people now. Facebook just cut about 13,000 workers.
Twitter,
I spoke with someone that lost his or her job, unfortunately. And the person said that the shareholders wanted not a 13% cut. I think they wanted maybe a 20% cut of their total workforce. So Asiwaju has a very beautiful plan when it comes to the information communications technology. And if you look at the Buhari government administration, just last month, they signed a start-up bill when it comes to ICT. That is part of the digital economy. And why am I saying all of this? I want you guys to understand something, that in 2015, the ease of doing business, Nigeria was ranked 170. Today, Nigeria is ranked 131. And now there's a bill that was signed. So people will come out and say, yes, oh, businesses are leaving. Fine, yes, because I'm not going to move into power, for example. Because we know that if we can get our power rights, which Asiwaju is a pioneer for, with his history, with even the federal government at the time was governor, while they were fighting him tooth and nail, because he brought in the first governor to bring in an independent power plant, which is in Ikorodu there, that is now contributing 207 megawatts to the national grid. If we get electricity right in Nigeria, that is going to contribute between 35 to 40 billion US dollars annually into our economy. And that is why in the action plan, when you go to page 30 in the action plan, which speaks on power, it talks about understanding, we understand the problems, which is transmission and distribution. And this is what we are going to do. Now, the current government actually has what is called the Presidential Power Initiative. When they signed the deal with Siemens, and they are bringing these high-end transformers into the country to help in the transmission aspect of power. Now, I will not want to waste so much time. I've already talked about power just briefly and what Asiwaju plans to do by increasing our megawatt capacity and capabilities. Because right now, Nigeria has about 13,500 installed megawatts as we are speaking today. But actual that is being generated about 8,000 megawatts. Now, Nigeria will be needing like maybe 15 to 20,000. Like, we have to be reasonable. It has to be reachable. It has to be reasonable. That's why the R, it has to be relevant. That's what the R stands for in the SMART goals. If you look at the action plan are things that can be achievable. Not somebody coming to sell you something sweet or something nice. Somebody's coming to sell something realistic. To fix electricity in Nigeria is not a knob that you turn and electricity is just going to work. You are going to invest money. Because contrary to public opinion, Nigeria pays the lowest amount, one of the lowest amounts when it comes to electricity.
Yes.
We are paying about 43 naira per kilowatt hour. In the UK, for example, those ones are paying, when I did the math the other time, they are paying like maybe 400 naira or 430 naira per kilowatt hour. So these are the things that we need to put into perspective, and these are the things that is being addressed in the action plan. When we get to power, we'll have a guest speaker here, and you guys will have yours truly here, and then we are going to break everything down. We are going to break everything down. Now we'll talk about transportation. Madam Yetunde, get ready. You are laughing. Because we are coming to agriculture. So get ready for agriculture. Yes, you are laughing. Get ready for agriculture. Because we're just going to touch it little by little. Because you are laughing, I'm talking. No, Allah. Now for transportation, it's very simple. All of those rail lines that the government is working on. Like I know Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. I know of that one. The Abuja to Kaduna, that one has been worked on. The Lagos to Ibadan, that one has been worked on. I think there's one on Abakaliki. There's the Kano to Maradi. There are so many, there are about 5 to 6 that is being worked on. Those projects will be completed. That is part of what is in the action plan. Excuse me. We are going to have more activities in the maritime sector. It is in the action plan. I am trying as much as possible not to bring Lagos into the conversation yet. I'm sticking to the action plan. Because a lot of these things that is in the action plan are things that you can have a little snapshot in what is being done in Lagos. Now, is it roads? Now, guys, I'm going to use this opportunity to bring this to your attention. According to the CBN in 2003, the federal government is only responsible for 17% of the road network in Nigeria. Federally, we have about 35,000 kilometers of federal road when it comes to federal road in Nigeria. That is the road network. And the current Buhari administration has rehabilitated over 13,000 kilometers and counting. Now, 16% of the roads in Nigeria are under the purview of the state government. So go and hold your state government responsible. Go and hold your state government responsible. Now, the big one. 67% of the roads in Nigeria, the local governments are in charge. And that is why Asiwaju pushes on having more what you call local council development areas, breaking these local governments down and having so that they can connect more with the people. When we get to all of those things, we'll talk about it, we'll bring up the constitution, we'll talk about all the things that the action plan says that is in line with the constitution. And lastly, with transportation, Lagos State, I have to say this, guys, because there's a BRT network that is working in Lagos State. In the action plan, Asiwaju wants to implement that across Nigeria. So now, moving on to agriculture, because we don't have time, because I want people to be able to ask questions, because it seems like we just have we have like 40 minutes, and people have to ask questions as regards just nitty-gritty kind of, just a little bit of questions here and there, because next week is going to be on national security. That's number one topic. And we're going to have a very, very key special guest. You don't want to miss that special guest. I'm not going to tell you people who the special guest is. I'm not telling you people. But we're going to have a very, very big special guest. Like big guest, special guest. People will be shocked. People will be shocked. Now, yesterday, Yusuf, Let's talk about agriculture. Let's talk about what the action plan says about agriculture in Nigeria. And then I want you to lump it into empowerment also. Okay. I want you to see it, put in empowerment, which is youth and women entrepreneurship, and then the social programs. The social program like the social investment program, the SIPs, trader money, anchor borrowers program, and you also talk about that just briefly. Then the sport, entertainment, and culture. I'm a DJ, professional DJ. Yes, I can talk, but you could just talk briefly on all of them. Agriculture and empowerment. And while that is going, Mr. Barrister Oluseyi Bisoriyu, I want you to get ready on judicial reforms, which is federalism, decentralization of power. Just very briefly, the fight against corruption. I might have one or two things to add in the fight against corruption. And then police brutality also.
Yes.
I want you to also look at that. And also foreign policy. So when my Yetunde Yusuf speaks on agriculture and empowerment, I want you to round it up with judicial reforms and foreign policy. And I want you to speak on the diaspora representation and support. You guys have just like five minutes, because I want people to be able to ask questions. You guys have like, I don't know how you guys are going to do, because just calling the topics alone is already 5 minutes already.
Yeah, so I'm not going to take too long.
Just action plan, just...
Yeah, I won't take too long, because one thing is that we're still going to have the experts that are real people in Nigeria that have done this to come talk to you guys about it. So I hope everybody continues to go on this journey with us. But briefly, to talk about what is in the action plan when it comes to agriculture. First, I would like to even say something, since I'm lumping agriculture and empowerment together. I don't see empowerment of women, I don't see it as different from even the agriculture. They always say that when we empower women, the homes, the family thrive, the community, the society itself will succeed. So there is benefit in actually empowering women. We do know that 35% of Nigeria workforce is in agriculture. And we also know that larger percentage of our GDP comes from agriculture in Nigeria. So, but our farmers, our agribusiness people in fact, they are not really paid for their labor. Let's put it that way. They go through so many challenges. Even though with this current administration, and I can tell you for a fact, these are verifiable facts that you can go to even USDA and look at their data on it, or go to World Bank and look at their data, that this administration has really worked to empower and to promote agriculture. We've made progress, but we can do more. Our frameworks, our regulatory frameworks are better. So what Ashwaju is planning to do when it comes to agriculture is to tackle a lot of the challenges that these people face. First off, there's difference between actually growing crops and not even being able to sell it at the right price. So we have the commodity board. That's where the commodity board comes in. If you go on page 27, you will see that there. The commodity board, their own role will be, they will have at least like a minimum price for some of our strategic crops, be it cashew, cocoa, sesame seeds, and palm oil, all those our strategic ones, we will have minimum. So you cannot lowball them. It's not fair that these people go on their farm, they labor to feed the nation, but then we are lowballing them and they are living in poverty. That is not okay. So that is what Ashiwaju's administration is going to work on. That's this one. They're talking about infrastructure development, because I've heard somebody say infrastructure is not necessary. Well, I don't think as an investor, if I want to go invest in a country, if they don't have the necessary infrastructure in place, which is good roads, electricity, and all of that, I don't think I will come to that society to invest. At the end of the day, I'm an investor and I need return on my investment. So if they have good roads, it's easy for them to transport their goods, their produce to the market where it's sold. Or it's easy for me as a retail to go to the farm, pick this thing up, or send my trucks to the farm to pick it up and bring it back. In fact, it will drive down the cost of food. Globally, people spend maybe 10% or less than that of their income on food. In Nigeria, we are spending about 60 to 70% of our income on food. It is the most ridiculous thing ever. But that is what we are doing. And that is why we have this infrastructure in place. If things are, no bus driver will come and say, well, because the road is bad, so that's why instead of taking 100 naira, I want to take 1,000 naira. That will cut that out. Talk about access to finance. Access to finance will also help. And if they have access to finance, it's not just for agriculture, even for our women, to empower women and our youth, that will be significant, because it's not everybody that really wants to say, okay, because I did so in school, I want to do this. Our young people they have entrepreneurial. We have a lot of young people that have entrepreneurial mindset. If they have access to finance, that will help. So the anchor borrower, like Bongoli said, the anchor borrower, all these programs, that they are still going to be there. What Ashwaji is going to do is put more money in it. We are going to even expand it to even cover more people. So we will provide help for our women, that they are not put in this box, in this bubble, that they can't even thrive, they can't contribute. Women are the backbone of any society. So we will talk more on this when we come to it, including on sports and culture.
Thank you very much. So when it comes to entertainment, for example, Ashwaju has said that we want to build our own Hollywood studios.
Yes.
If you go to page 53, starting on page 53 of the manifesto, it says that we are going to have our own media center, where we can have all of these movies, all of these visuals, have our own village.
Yes.
Putting money, investing. And also when you invest, you have the return of investment.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, Ashwaju is the master when it comes to investing and getting proceeds from investment. Ashwaju invested about 4 billion in, I think, Econet at the time. And when he invested, he got back 19 billion naira.
Yes.
When it invested and came into Lagos coffers. But during the week, we heard of the governor that went to speak, but I won't talk much about the governor that said something about some investments. And it's worth and amounts to nothing, but we won't talk about that. Also,
let me quickly buttress your point on this culture entertainment.
Okay.
Nigeria's Nollywood is the third largest in the world, because it's after Hollywood, then there's Bollywood, then there's Nollywood, which is Nigeria one. It's the third largest entertainment industry. And when we're talking about entertainment industry and putting money into it, we're not talking about just being an actor or being a musician. We're talking about all the value that comes with entertainment. Talk about the producers, the people that do photography that comes with it, or the cinematography, all those extra things. What you can do, people can actually now say, I'm going to school to do graphics that they can use in movie.
Hold on. I think that our guest just joined.
Oh, perfect.
I think that the Diaspora Directorate DG just joined. So let me see if I can add him. I think I just saw him now. Please, Barrister Oluseyi Bisiriyu, I want you to just hold on. I have invited him. So let's see if he comes up. I just sent him an invite. Okay. I think, hold on. Let's see. Sir, can you flip your camera? I mean, we can see your laptop screen. Yes. Good evening, sir. So everyone.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
We can hear you. So everyone.
Let me start by apologizing. My name is Prince Adeyemole. I'm the director for the Diaspora Directorate. First, I want to apologize for the late connection. I thought I'd come off the Zoom meeting for a minute. I'm actually on a Zoom meeting in respect to the JAWS flag of that's happened on Tuesday. but because of the importance of this meet, I thought at least I should show my face, even if it's going to be for 1 second or 1 minute. I should be here, and also being the very first edition of this 13-week program. Again, let me first and foremost apologize. I'm so sorry for connecting so late, and also it's actually going to be a fly visit. And in addition to that, let me also appreciate everyone. Let me appreciate the organizers. I want to appreciate the speakers, all the other speakers. And also I want to appreciate all the members that are here today. Thank you so much. We appreciate what you're doing, spending your resources, your time. We appreciate all that. And one other thing that's quite important, your passion, your commitment to this advocacy is second to none. We just want to say thank you for that. I'll just yield the floor for a minute to our special host, the host of all hosts, to actually go on and probably do some sort of introduction. Like I just said, I said that quite quickly before I, rejoin my Zoom meeting. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So, sir, before you go, we just want you to just speak on the role that the diaspora is going to play in the Asiwaju administration, and all of the work as regards the action plan when it comes to the diaspora. So please, just a minute or two, so you can go back to your meeting. That would be awesome.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for that valid question. You see, for the diaspora has always been an integral part of development in any country. Now, when we talk about Nigeria, more so Nigeria, we have Nigerians doing so well. I mean, most Nigerians, all Nigerians on this platform are professionals, Nigerians with experience, we're excelling in Nigeria and also outside Nigeria. So why can't we also contribute to the development of our own country? And in addition to that, we have a presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was also a Nigerian that lived in the diaspora a few years ago. He understands it. He knows that Nigerians outside Nigeria actually have the capacity, they have the experience. And because they've been there, done that, they have the experience to come back and actually, add value to the development of the country. So in a way, that's why he's saying he's actually reaching out to Nigerians in the diaspora to say that, number one, we appreciate you. We know you're there. We want to work with you. And that's one of the reasons why the Diaspora Directorate was actually, put together and created as part of the Presidential Campaign Council, because they actually understand the importance of Nigerians in the diaspora to development, especially nation to actually develop the nation. Now, talking about, aside from actually putting together the Diaspora Directorate as one of the important directorates of the Presidential Campaign Council, we also have in the action plan itself. I mean, if we look at the action plan, we're actually talking about security, health, education, empowering the youth, empowering women, which is quite important. But in addition to that, if we look under the foreign policy paragraph, you will see something there. I believe it's on page 71 to 72. And that's the fact that Nigerians in the diaspora will now be involved in governance going forward. Yes, we've actually laid the foundation for it, but from 2023, as soon as the incoming president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when we actually move into Aso Rock, God willing, May 29, 2023, we will hit the ground running, and Nigerians in the diaspora will be part of that. And that's because they appreciate what we're doing, they appreciate our contribution to nation development. Now, aside from that, there's also something that's quite important. That is, how do we actually contribute to this Asiwaju project going forward? Now, there are two sides to it. We have loads of Nigerians outside Nigeria. And remember, Nigerians in the diaspora, we're not just talking those in Canada, US, UK. We also have neighboring countries, neighboring countries to Nigeria. Most of those Nigerians living in those countries they have their PVCs, meaning they will be going back to vote come 2023 February. In addition to that, we have people that are also flying into Nigeria to actually cast their vote. People like myself, I've got my PVC, and there are thousands of Nigerians all over the world flying back into Nigeria to vote during that election in February 2023. So we have Nigerians with PVCs, and we also have Nigerians that for one reason or the other, when we are not actually going to blame them for that. For one reason or the other, they can't fly back, they can't actually go to Nigeria, and they don't have PVCs. But having said that, these Nigerians are also crucial to the election coming up next February. And why is that? We have families, we have people, we have brothers, sisters, parents, uncles, so many people out there, our employees. There are people with different businesses in Nigeria. We can actually talk to them. We can talk to them, we can convince them, and also the amount of money we send from the diaspora into Nigeria. But my take on that is this. I'm not just saying tell XYZ to vote Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu because you send money to that person, or you send money to your family, or you send money to your employees, or you send money to XYZ. We need to understand the content of the action plan. The action plan is actually the manifesto. But knowing Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a man of action, as a man with passion, as a man who wants to hit the ground running from day one. He has actually named the manifesto action plan. It's a plan of action. This is what I will be doing, and this is how I intend to do it. Yes. And that's why it's called an action. And that's the same reason that we should be giving to the people we call back home, for those who are not going back home. Tell them, yes, I may send you money. It's not about the money I send you. Yes, people will say whoever plays the piper actually dictates the tune. But in addition to that, we're saying we have lots of goodies in the action plan. Our action plan will improve education. Our action plan will build on what the Buhari-led administration has done in terms of security. Our action plan will reform different sectors of the economy. Our action plan has lots of goodies for women, has lots of goodies for the youth, and we're also going to be looking into unemployment and a few other challenges that the country is actually going through at this present time. And we know that we have a sellable candidate, a candidate who has done it before. So it's not a matter of I will do this, I will do that. It's a matter of I have done it. I have done it exceedingly well in the past. I have the experience, I have the capacity, I have the commitment, and want to actually do it again. So those are the kind of things that we should be telling people back home for those who can vote. And yes, we may want to preach to the converted, but my advice and my appeal this evening is this. Let's go into the opposition camp. Let's go to those sitting on the fence. I know people share things on, they share stuff on, most of the progressive platforms. Let's go outside our comfort zone. Let's go meet people. And that's why I love what main debaters and speakers there tonight are actually doing. Because we're actually debating the opposition. We're actually talking to people still sitting on the fence. Those are the people that we should be, we should be talking to. Those are the people that we should be trying to convince in order to have our person, our man, our father, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sworn in as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's it. There's no more to it. And let me end with this. Let's work as one team. I keep saying that, and I won't stop saying that. We have only one mission, and we should be working as one team to deliver that one mission. You see, we're not competitive. We should complement what others are doing. We shouldn't. Let's go in as one united army to ensure that we have our principal, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the next president. And there's one task, and that task is let's do whatever we have to do within the ambit of the law to ensure that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu becomes the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I'm quite confident, I strongly believe that come May 2023, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be sworn in as the incoming or as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But we have to do the legwork. We have to do the social media work, which is what you're doing now. And that's why I commend you for what you're doing and what you've done in the past. and what you will be doing leading to the elections in February 2023. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
and
you.
you can go over and have your meeting sites. An honor to have you in. And next week is national security. So we're telling them that we're going to bring a very special guest. We're going to bring a very special guest. So you guys should stay tuned. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Have a nice one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We love what you guys are. Thanks a lot for doing it. I can see somebody say it go shock you now. Well, we will shock you. Is there another 1271 me? The opposition, there's no one close to, we're head and shoulders above any other opposition out there at this present time. I'm on ground. I'm in Abuja. We're going to Jos in 2 days, and we will show Nigerians that we're ready, that we're prepared, and come 2023, we will actually win this election convincingly. Inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye, sir.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. So, Barrister Bisiriyu, you have been saved. As regards the diaspora representation and support, you have been rescued. So, but you're going to speak now, sir, but I want to just add something because we don't have time at all. So I just have only 5 minutes to say whatever I have to say. But I want to touch on that commodities exchange system. That is as regards agriculture. Guys, in the action plan, it is clearly stating that food is going to be cheaper, basically. When we all in Nigeria have access to the price of Gari, 1 kg of Gari, around Nigeria, so nobody is shortchanged. I will not want to delve into the reasons why food is high in Nigeria or why 40% of our yield goes to waste before it's even transported. That is when we talk about agriculture. All of the plans that Ashwaji is putting in place to solve those problems are in this action plan. Go and download the soft copy. I have the soft copy. I've read it back and front. I have the hard copy. I read it every day. Every blessed day, I read it.
Bongali, if you want to pin I shared the link. If you want to pin it, so in case somebody is trying to figure I shared it earlier.
Where did you pin it? Where did you pin it? Let's see.
Oh, I can just be.
Yeah, please, can you send it again so that I can
pin? Let me repost it here. Let me repost it here, and then you can. Okay, that is it now. And then now you can pin it.
How do you pin now? Okay, pin comment. Oh, I've pinned it. This is my first pin. I'm excited. This is my first pin. So, guys, that is the link to the action plan. It's very easy. Go there and download it and read it and share it to everyone. Like I always say, vote for the right person. Vote for who you think is going to take Nigeria to the next level. I can speak for myself and for the speakers here on this platform that we believe that Asiwaju is the best person because it is not I will do, it is I have done. And when we get into the what's it called? The critical issues, you see the pages, the breakdown, we'll talk about all of this in detail. So without further ado, Lawyer Bisiriyu, Barrister Bisiriyu, I beg your pardon. You have just 5 minutes to talk about the foreign policy and talk about judicial reforms. Your 5 minutes starts now. Thank you.
So thank you so much. So first, before I address there's not too much to say about the judiciary and the foreign policy because in most cases people don't care what you do in UN or African Union, as important as it is. But the one I want to address quickly is the empowerment. There is something very special in the social and political empowerment for the youth. And that is on page 59 of the action plan. It says, and I read, reserve at least 3 cabinet positions for persons under the age of 40. 6 more positions for members under the age of 50. That has never happened
Never.
in Nigeria. That they will say that they are guaranteeing that youth will be a minister and age specific in that area. Now, there's no need for us to compare because we don't have anything to compare about, and this is not a platform for comparison. But I want people to understand that this action plan is a youth-centric plan, that to the extent that you want something good for yourself, irrespective of whether you like the man or not, irrespective of whether you have misgivings about who he is or not. Politics is a game of interest. You have to find out what is your own interest in this policy. And based on that, who can satisfy that interest? And this is going to be based on all Nigerians, youth, old, and women, men, it doesn't matter. But it's good for even the opponents to go read this, so that when Asiwaju becomes president, they know what to look for. And they know the program they can go and say, oh, these people came and told us about this, and this does not happen. We are going to talk more about what the youth have, opportunities of the youth in there, and there is so many of it. It seems like he was just thinking about youth and his team before drafting this. With the judiciary, the biggest one is about providing opportunities for a cheap access to judiciary. You know, right now it is so clogged that to the extent that you have cases going on for many years. Then there is the independence of the judges, which is very, very important. He said that the institutes they need a far-reaching reform. And the President Vice President has engineered something of that nature in Lagos, which is working for Lagos right now. So there is experience in that area. And everyone who wants good commerce, good enforcement of contracts in business, in your life, in other things that you deal with, you need a good and working judicial system. So he also said that because this is going to be federal centric, it's going to provide incentives for states to adopt the same reform at the state level. So it's going to be all round. Then with the foreign policy, it is more about how Nigeria can integrate and incorporate its foreign policy, because if part of one of the things he said that makes sense there is that even sports is an instrument of foreign policy, that when you have athletes who are on the podium and they win trophies, it is also an opportunity to use that to get advantages in foreign policy. This man knows the bits and pieces of how to put things together to work for a country, so a nation state. And even using that as a step in foreign policy is on a different level. I have never thought of that as an instrument of foreign policy, but that is just special. And with that, I believe that Nigeria, in his management, will present a better Nigeria that will work with the international community on security and everything else. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Guys, let me just add just something, just 20 seconds to foreign policies and why it is very important. Guys, right now, we have the Director General or the President of the World Trade Organization in the person of Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, or Professor or Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. So we have a good stand, because you begin to talk about trade. What is your trade deficit? Begin to talk about your trade deals. So that is where foreign policy comes in place. Being able to say, I will produce this, and you produce that, and you satisfy my demand, I'll satisfy your demand. That's another angle to foreign policy. It aids in the importation and exportation of goods and the market and the economy. Because I'll give you an example. We're talking about climate change, for example. There's a lot going on with climate change as regards Africa. Don't industrialize. Don't industrialize. We'll give you money. Out of the $100 billion that's supposed to be given to Africa, only 12 billion has been given to Africa. But he said we shouldn't industrialize, because if we industrialize, we increase the amount of green gas emissions. Africa only contributes to about 3% of the greenhouse gas emissions in the world. Unfortunately, Africa bears the worst brunt of climate change. If you go to the Horn of Africa, for example, Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Djibouti, and all those places, they are going through drought right now.
Yes.
Look at what's happened in Nigeria just last month and into this month, 2 months back. Flooding. We are having water level rising at catastrophic levels at this time. But we are not even responsible for it. So that is why Asiwaju made that statement of the poor church rats and the poisoned Holy Communion. Maybe someday I'll be able to post an article on Bloomberg News that clearly explains that, and why Asiwaju said, if you don't give us the money, we industrialize. Anyways, we are already bearing the brunt. Temperatures in Africa are increasing about 2 to 3 degrees annually, like all-time highs. It's climate change, and we have no hand in it. Now,
let me quickly say something, Dongoli. The reason why we need a leader, something happened recently at the COP27, and before the COP27 at the UN General Assembly. One thing I was happy about that was seeing our African leaders, including President Buhari, actually say to their face, the Western nation, about the not doing anything proactively, sincerely, for Africa when it comes to the effect of this climate change on Africa. When you're thinking about climate change, this is where foreign policy also comes into play, because a lot of things that is required to help with climate change, it seems like we are being demanded to sacrifice, when even in their own countries, their own people are fighting against those things they are trying to shove down the throat of Africa. We need development, but what will help us develop speedily, which is our God-given resources, are being termed not to use because, well, it contributes to greenhouse gases. For example, like in South Africa, 60% of their workforce is in coal. Coal is what generates their electricity, but you want them to move away from coal, use the money they don't have to go buy foreign technology that will, to prevent this thing. But the thing is, in America, their own people are saying, no, you need to keep fracking. You need to keep the coal going. In Europe, with this Russia-Ukraine war going on, and they don't have gas and oil from Russia, they are starting back the coal plants. So we need leader that can bring coalition of Africa also together. They can speak in one voice to say what is good for us, how can we help this situation so our farmers are not affected drastically. What can you do for us? How can you help us help ourselves without putting unnecessary burden on ourselves or telling us not to, So we need to look at all this. We'll talk more about it later.
Thank you very, very much. And on that note, how many minutes do we have? We have about 4 minutes.
Question about it, yeah.
Yeah, so guys, we just have 5 questions. 5 questions, and it is just pretty, it is not in-depth questions. We're going to have all these in-depth questions and in-depth analysis. Next week is national security. We'll go in-depth into them. But for this first episode, which is just a recap, based on what you have heard so far, what are your questions, comments, and/or concerns? Please, no insults, no abuses. Remember, we are all Nigerians. We want the best for Nigeria, but we'll just look at things differently. So guys, please ask your questions. Thank you.
I don't know if anybody's asked question, but
no, I've seen people put comments there as regards can we ask questions and all of that. When can we ask questions? And Now is the question time. Let's see. I'll just wait for one additional minute. If no one has questions, just one additional minute. If no one has questions, we'll...
While we wait for the question, one thing I think that is probably important to a lot of young people that are probably listening is education. We skipped over it. We didn't remember to talk. We're not going to go into much details in it.
Education and healthcare.
We didn't talk too much about it because I know a lot of people are like, you didn't talk about this. They're probably thinking, we will still talk about it. But just so you know, we didn't forget about it. And I will encourage people to actually look at the plan, because when it comes to education and healthcare, what the plan has is, it's pretty big, and it's very, with education is something that will give everybody opportunity to be educated. It's going to be decentralized, for it's restructured and of course, some people might have questions because somebody has asked me that question before, like, but if it's loan, it's not everybody that will be able to pay. Well, even in America, if it's loan, it's not everybody that can pay back, but that will be available so that people can go to school, pay for their distance. If our school is well funded, schools in all these other countries we are talking about, they are funded well. That's why they can compete globally. We need our schools in Nigeria to be well funded also and be able to compete globally. One thing that the day we are going to have an expert come talk to us about education that I want to ask them, or I want to request, is on the issue of boards for our primary and secondary school board of education. Besides the government one. Yeah, so that one is important.
Thank you. I've seen a question here, but before we answer that question is going to be directed to Barrister Oluseyi Bisiri, which is, how confident are you that we will achieve his manifesto should he become the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria come May 2023? But before you answer that question, so start getting your questions, getting your answers ready. Before you do, let me just chime in on healthcare and education. In education, I think education is page 41. And yes. I think healthcare is 43 or 45. Yeah, healthcare is 45.
Healthcare is 45.
Education is 41. Now, in education, for example, it says, and I quote, we are going to revamp our curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Our educational curriculum. To the best of my knowledge, I think we are still using the curriculum of our colonial masters for the most part. The curriculum has not necessarily changed. History has been removed. He said it's going to bring back history. It is in the manifesto. We are bringing back history. Now, when it comes to healthcare, Asiwaju said, and I quote, in the Renewed Hope 2023 Action Plan, he says, in each local government, we are going to have primary healthcare centers in all 774 local governments in Nigeria. In each state, we are going to have 3 specialist hospitals in each state. Now, in each geopolitical zone, we have 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria. We are going to have a specialist hospital in each geopolitical zone. And remember, Asiwaju is not I will do. It is I have done. Mm-hmm. Go to Lagos, for example. Each LCDA has a primary health care center. Each LCDA, all the 37 LCDAs in Lagos.
Yes.
So it is not I will, it is I have done. So without further ado, please answer that question in 1 minute. Barrister Sheyi Bisiri, 1 minute.
So my response is that thank you for the question. The political promises are promises, and in law, considerations are given for promises, and that is that you give something for something. Usually, the consequence of not fulfilling promises is voting somebody out. Now, with this man, we know that he does not lose. And because he doesn't lose, the only way he survived not losing is because he has always been true to his words, support the right leaders, provide the right kind of successor, and they follow the plan as he has created it. Now, this is his own plan. He himself going out there to execute his plan. I am at least 70, no, let me put it a little bit higher. I will say 89%, and 11% of it is the Nigerian factor, because sometimes you employ certain people that just don't do the job. But over time, he has learned how to manage that. Now, the other part is history. The first manifesto ever introduced into Nigeria was made in 1951 by Awolowo for the Action Group. He made those promises, and I have a book of his biography here, or Awo, and I can read as simple as it is. It says, free universal primary education for children of school-going age, free medical treatment for all children up to age of 18, one hospital for each of 24 administrative divisions in the region which did not yet possess one, improvement in agricultural technique and higher returns for farmers, better wages for working class, improvement of existing roads, bridges, and the construction of new ones, water supply to urban and rural areas, and so on. My point is this: they didn't even have resources at that time. They didn't have much of money. But by 1955, he was fulfilling all of these promises. There is a similarity to this, because this is a type of action plan that has never been seen in Nigeria before. And for someone like Awolowo to have been successful, Asiwaju will even do better. Now, there is an history for him to beat, and I know he's a competitive man. He's going to make things happen. I can assure you this will be done, and the right people will be in the game. Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much. A lot, guys, the brief history you just spoke about in 1951 as regards education was implemented in 1953, between 1953 and 1954 by Chief Obafemi Awolowo and Professor Awokoya. And that was what birthed the universal primary education that you see in the old Western region today. And that is why today we have more educated people, or more people that go to school, formal education, in the Southwestern region. So what happened in 1953, we are still reaping the benefits come 2022. And that also increased the amount of women or females that go to school from a ratio of 5:1 increased to a ratio of 5:2. So that's just a little brief. That's just little history. We try not to go there, but at times we have to go there and go and pick some history.
I mean, yeah. To even bolster that point, it's yes. 8 years, first off, 8 years is not enough to solve Nigeria's problem, not to talk of 4 years. Just in case somebody is coming out to say, I will solve this and this. It's easy. I can just snap my finger and do this. No, we are not. What's the name of that guy, the bad guy in, what's it called? Thanos. Hey, we don't have the time. We don't have the time stone. We don't have the time stone to just film and just do that. No, so, but one thing we can say is, look at what they started under him in Lagos. We are still seeing it now. It's like, it's a curve. It's coming up. It's going to keep going. The only thing is the governors coming after will modify it, but they still stay within it, but they can add to it. You can't, it's just like, even in your job, like for me, when I was on the unit, my employer actually has policy. My units can have a policy that is just what my organization wants, or they can have higher. We never go lower than the policy of the organization. Our own standard might be higher. So whoever comes in can build on that and add to it. So what I can say is this manifesto, going by history, like Lawyer Bisiru said, going by history, we know this person has the capacity and the capability to get things done. And that is who we need, somebody that can get things done. So, and I believe in this candidacy that it can get it. It can get people there that can get things done, not just people warming the bench.
Thank you very much. I see that you are even answering some questions because I was looking through the questions. I saw Femi of Zverich. Zverich means Sweden, to the best of my understanding. So, how about local government autonomy? Is Asiwaju ready to do it? Buhari has already done it too.
Yeah, is your governor.
Buhari has done that too. But state governments are fighting him. They took Buhari to court, but Buhari won. So there is that local government autonomy. And I showed you, for the most part, you saw what he did in Lagos State. Lagos State had 20 local governments, and then he brought about 37 additional local council development areas, making it 57. And you saw what the federal government at the time did to him. They fought him tooth and nail. They didn't give him any local government allocation. They didn't give him any local government allocation for 4 years. And he was able to pay salaries of people working in local government, pay salaries of people working in state governments, and also to even have money to run the budget of Lagos State. So let me see one more question. Let's see one more question. I think you've answered the question. Barrister Bisiru has answered the question. With the level of corruption in our system, how do you think Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will achieve all these things stated in the manifesto within a period of 4 years? Well, we've talked about Thanos. One thing that I will add here is in the manifesto. I want you to go and read it. Consumer credit system. Asiwaju wants to bring the credit system to Nigeria. So
page 17.
You don't page, is it page 70? Or what did you say?
17.
Page 17. Page 17. So if you go on page 17, you see that information. So you do not have to go and put your hand into things that are not within the ambit of the law to get about 40 million, 50 million naira to buy that Range Rover. That's your dream car. When you can actually pay 1 million naira per month. So he is going to implement that, and it is clearly stated in the Renewed Hope action plan. Let me look at one last.
Can I quickly say something? And also,
yes,
in the plan, there is because I heard that some people are wondering how they'll pay the loan back. There is also a reformation of the NYSC to give opportunity for people to be for private entrepreneurs to incorporate and employ these NYSC graduates, not just have you 1 year and send you back to your father's house. So there will be opportunity for you to show your skills to your employer while you are in NYSC and get employed, and based on your income, you can start paying back your loan. The first thing is at least to get the education. Once you have it, it doesn't matter whether you are going to pay it now or later. There might be other policies to give you a grace period for you to get employment and other important things. So people should not be scared of the repayment. They should first be bothered about the investment. And the investment is the loan for you if you are poor or your parents are just not able to pay. For you to do that, invest in yourself, and then worry about the repayment later in life. And we see that nothing about education is lost. You will always add value. That's my
and depending on the course you do too, if you do a STEM program like science, technology, education, mathematics, all those STEM programs, they are special. That's why we said you should look at it. In fact, if you go to page 44, you'll be able to see more on the student loan, on the STEM program, the financing. You'll be able to read on it. There is also going to be the issue, like you said, for public-private partnership in this when it comes to employment and all that, and even service one too, like we have in the US. If you work for a public organization for a certain number of years, your loan might be reduced or cancelled. So there are options like that too that will be available. And it's not like you finish school, you have to pay us today, or they will do like, micro people, Lapo will do, bring the speaker.
I didn't even know what that is.
They will not do Lapo. They will not do Lapo for you to come and be like, yesterday's one.
I think in the manifesto, I think they even refer to Lapo self. I think somewhere in the manifesto. Yeah, they refer to Lapo. I think Lapo is one of the highest employers of labor in Nigeria. Really? I think so. I read it somewhere that they employ people. Cooperative now. It's cooperative now. Lapo is cooperative now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
People are
talking
about
cooperative in there too. That farmers will be able to create a cooperative
I
of
don't
their
know
own
what
and
you
all
mean
that.
by to confirm Ashiwaju's capacity to if you're talking about political capacity, I don't think we need to talk more on that because that's already there. It's more of a lot of the problems we have in Nigeria also have to do with political will. And if we think about it, someone that's actually shown us political will to make changes, to make hard decisions, even when his own mother, may God rest his soul, Alaja Abibat Magaji, was trying to tell him to please take it easy on this market women. You know they have to still sell. So let them put their wares on the street. He said, Mama, what I'm doing is for their own good. And he did it. So even if he was able to get his mother and all these market women, because if you know Nigeria pre-1999, you will understand what I'm saying in Lagos. If he was able to get all these political godfathers and all that and get them on board to say, see the vision with me, dream with me, and he can get it done, then that is the political will that we are talking about that we need in Nigeria. We need the political will to stem all this corruption, our revenue situation. We need political will because when it comes to stealing of our oil and all that, it's not Nigeria, and we're connecting it with the debt. Nigeria doesn't have a debt problem. We have a revenue situation, a revenue problem. That is what we have. If as far as what we are getting our debt on is things that can pay for itself, our trade system on a good day should be able to pay for itself if people are not stealing the money that passengers are paying. And that is where leadership comes in and efficiency. So we'll talk more on this as time goes on. I don't want
Thank
to
you.
take too much
Thank
time.
you. Thank you very much. We'll have an hour and 30 minutes to dissect all of this. We'll look at the Renewed Hope Action Plan 2023 and look at everything and break it down. And we have guest speakers or a guest speaker on those certain days, people that may have actually been involved in the manifesto itself.
Yeah.
So they can even give us more clarity, more understanding, and you guys will have the opportunity of asking questions.
And also,
Today,
even if they are not part of it, they can tell us if it will work or not because they have been in
absolutely,
the system. They can tell us that
absolutely,
this can work, this may not work, and then we can all come up
absolutely,
with ideas of what we think and input.
absolutely. I was thinking about that because I have friends and colleagues that are economic experts, that are civil engineering experts, and we can bring them on this platform and read the manifesto to them, and then they can tell us, oh yes, I think this is a good idea. Oh no, I think that we can do some brushing up. And then we can say, okay, yes, in the manifesto, this is what the manifesto says to address this or address that. So that we all can actually have a very good understanding. Because remember, no document is perfect. We all put the documents together and everything is all looking glossy and all beautiful and all head and mind popping, but then there needs to be the implementation. Implementation is key. We Nigerians have to have love for Nigeria. And remember, I'll leave you guys with this parting note before I end everything today. The government are a reflection of its citizens. We need to be good followers to have good leaders.
Yes.
Never forget that. Nigerians need to love Nigeria. And on that note, that is the bottom line because Bongoli says so. So
you said it.
For next week,
class dismissed.
The topic is going to be on
national security. And please read
tell
it
your friends.
Come, so we can discuss this. This is interesting.
Tell your friends,
let's talk about it.
Your loved ones and your enemies that there is a chance or a likelihood or a possibility that one of the biggest offices in Nigeria when it comes to security, that person
might show up next week. Yeah.
Might show up next week. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet.
Yep.
But this particular person that is going to come, you guys know him. You guys have known that person for a donkey amount of years. When you see him, you know what I'm talking about. So all of those questions as regards insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, all of the unrest going on in the southeast, all of the unrest going on in the south-south, farmers' herders clashes, all of the issues going on, militancy, whatever you may, whatever, whatever it is. Now, this person will be in the best position to answer such questions, give us insights on the Ashwaju Manifesto, and how it's going to resolve these issues. Well, and on that note, I would like to adjourn this meeting. This is the first series or first episode in the series of Pitching the Plan. I am going to save this live on my Instagram page, so you can go there, watch and rewatch. And secondly, we are going to also look at putting it up on Facebook and also YouTube. So we would definitely post those links out. So guys, remember, 9 p.m. to 11 to 10:30 p.m. Nigerian time, every Sunday, for the next 13 weeks till the elections, we are going to be here dissecting Renewed Hope 2023, the action plan. Ensure that you go download the soft copy, read and digest it. And if you cannot, no problem. We are here for you to explain it to you. That is what we are doing here.
Or just choose the part that is more important to you and read that part.
Exactly.
And then, and then we tell you the
yes,
rest.
whatever is more important to you or most important to you that affects you. Because, for example, in the North, the security challenges in the North may be different or is different from what is going on maybe in the Southwest and Southeast. Even though insecurity is insecurity, but the different regions have their peculiarity when it comes to insecurity. And the action plan is very robust in addressing these issues. And on that note, have a lovely one, everyone.
Thank you guys
See
for
you guys
joining.
next week.
All
And
right.
that's the bottom line, because Bongoli says so. Bye.
You like drama.